is an underrated defensive player. He can guard point guards all the way down to even some power forwards. So they're going to be relying on him this year.
Next up is the Grizzlies, because Pelton pegs wing size as their biggest need. I thought this was interesting with injuries to Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey. A lot of the season, though, regardless of who you're looking at, going to fall on Ja Morant. Now, Morant recently said on TikTok that he's ready to go full 2021-22 mode. They were pretty good that year, Perk. What does Memphis need from Ja this season?
To put up or shut up, and it's definitely Ja Morant, and he's right. In 2021, 2022, he averaged 27 points a game, and then after that, he's fell off since no limit. If they want to contend and be a threat in the Western Conference, Ja Morant needs to play MVP-type basketball, 27 to 30 points a game.
And the West is tight this year. And then we have Philly. That's where Pelton identifies the power forward spot as the biggest hole in their depth chart. But Ramona, is that your biggest concern when it comes to the Sixers?
Look, I saw those videos of Joel Embiid playing basketball, which is a good sign, but we are still waiting to see how available he's going to be. Is he available like he's back and playing every day? Is he available like he's back and needs some time off in between games? That, to me, is the biggest question, because we already know Paul George is going to be delayed in starting training camp.
Well, there is really a lot of opportunity in the Eastern Conference if they are able to be healthy, but of course it is the biggest if every year for the Philadelphia 76ers. It's something that the Knicks are hoping that they can take advantage of, though. The Knicks' biggest need, it was more depth, and this morning New York addressed it, at least in part, signing Malcolm Brogdon here to a one-year deal, a little flyer. The former Sixth Man of the Year averaged only 12.7 points, just over 4 assists, 3.8 rebounds in a career-low 24 games last season for the Wizards here. But it could help a little bit here for the New York Knicks. Wendy, does this Brogdon signing, what does it tell you about what New York is trying to do here?
Well, I am told that the Knicks were on Malcolm Brogdon for over 2 months, that this was a guy they really wanted to sign this summer. But Brogdon wanted to see if he could get some better offers first. He didn't. Now, this is a non-guaranteed deal. And I want to point out the Knicks signed 3 players this week. They signed Landry Shamet and Garrison Matthews. And from what I understand, the Knicks are going to have basically a competition to see which of those 3 guys can make the team. One of them is definitely going to make it. Maybe they can do 2 if they make another move. But it's going to be a training camp competition. And all 3 of these guys have been in NBA rotations in the recent past. So the Knicks definitely feel like they've upgraded their bench.
Ramona, how do you view this?
Look, they needed to upgrade their bench. Their starters led the league in minutes last year. We've heard Mikal Bridges complain about that. We've heard other players on the team kind of grouse behind the scenes on this. But it just remains, no team whose starters have led the league in minutes has made the NBA Finals since 1987.
Right.
I mean, they had to address their depth. They have to play differently. And presumably, that'll fall on Mike Brown to play differently. But also, it's on the roster.
And that's part of the reason they brought Mike Brown in, so that they can use this roster a little bit differently. When it's all said and done, Perk, I feel like we spent a lot of time this offseason talking about the crowded Western Conference, and rightfully so. But in the East, when it really is looking like the New York Knicks are head and shoulders, maybe along with a couple of other teams like the Cavaliers, above everybody else, how do you feel about them heading into this season?
They are. To me, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference, right? We know that the Celtics, they are somewhat in the rebuild mode. Okay, the Cavs, I don't trust them. I trust Big Body Bronson as the leader of that ball club, and they address the issues that they needed to address. You go and you get some bench players that's going to come in and play their role while still keeping your entire core together. We know OG Anunoby. We know what he's going to bring to the table for us being that 3-and-D guy. At times, he looked like Scottie Pippen. Josh Hart, he's going to come back on the mission. Obviously, they just re-signed Mikal Bridges, and I'm looking forward to see what Karl Anthony Towns look like under a new voice of their locker room and Mike Brown. I think we're going to see the best version of him. If you ask me, I'm all in on the Knicks for us in the Eastern Conference. No slight to nobody else. I just feel like they checked all the boxes, and they're the best team in the Eastern Conference right now on paper.
I don't disagree with you in terms of being one of the best teams and checking all of the boxes. I do think it's alongside the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Brian, I was talking to Evan Mobley the other day, ran into him in a WNBA game, and I just said to him, there is a level of maybe it's daunting when there is so much expectation and also so much opportunity when a conference is wide open in front of you to be able to be the team that runs through and seizes that. Can the Knicks do that this year?
Yeah, I mean, they've got to look around at their opportunity. Jason Tatum is going to likely miss most, if not all, the season. Tyrese Halliburton, the same. The Cavs are dealing with several players coming off surgeries. There have been a lot of years, Malika, where the Knicks had disadvantages that they couldn't control. Now they've got the breaks breaking their way. Their team has been put together. They're built out. They're in the best position we've seen the Knicks to win the East in a generation. They have got to take advantage of this season.
I do not disagree with you on that one, my friend. Hey, as the offseason for the NBA is winding down, apex level here.
I do. I think he was fabulous last year. You know, he has been on the All-NBA team 11 straight times when he's been eligible. That 1 year where he had the injuries, only played 5 games. Other than that, 11 straight years. He's led the league in three-pointers in 4 of the last 5 seasons. He actually had the second best free throw season of his career last year. His physical conditioning is excellent. Okay, he may not be in his prime anymore. No, the Warriors no longer have the best roster in the NBA, which they did throughout a big portion of his career. But I see no reason to believe Steph Curry is going to materially slow down anytime soon. And if I was a Warriors fan, I would be very excited by those comments.
Very excited about those comments. A little concerned about the construction of your team. I think the biggest thing that will help Steph Curry is getting some help. Send the man some help. Now, we know that the big issue going into, I guess, the midway point for the Golden State Warriors was winning the non-Steph Curry minutes.
Right.
They had Jimmy Butler, and they started winning. Just a little bit of bad luck towards the end of the playoffs. But still, they need to find a third star so that he can really cook. We know Draymond Green's there as a facilitator, but Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, and someone. Now, I know the asterisk is around Jonathan Kuminga. That situation, figuring that out, navigating that. But if they're able to find that star and improve, that is where Steph Curry will truly shine. He can do bad all by himself, but we want him to continue to elevate and, play these meaningful games. And so that will take a team effort.
Right. And when you look at the fact that it was Steph Curry who said after he won Finals MVP, who's that?
Hey.
Who's that?
But I'm saying we already know. We already know about Steph. We already know about Steph. This is not an individual sport. This is not golf. This is not tennis. You need a team, right? And not only do you need the team to help you win the championship, because that's what Steph is trying to do towards the last part of his career, is bring home number 5. You need to limit the distractions. And right now, it's still a distraction right now for the Golden State Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga. Shanae, you just alluded to, you just talked about it, right? What are they going to do with him? They need a third star. Can he be that third star? A guy that you drafted in the lottery, a guy that shows he has a promising future, and you're still in the midst right now of having turmoil with this young man for his contract negotiation. He don't feel wanted. I don't know if he wants to be there. I don't know if Steve Kerr really wants him to be there. I don't know if Steve Kerr really believes in him. So when you talk about Steph Curry, we know he's going to do what he's supposed to do. He's going to max out. But again, you need the organization not to have distractions. And right now, this is a huge distraction, and you don't need that going into this season, into training camp.
Perk, you basically